Welcome to a random video on the channel. This is going to be a real-life situation that I am turning into a random trap guide. I'm going to link in the description down below my playlist of trap guides. I've discontinued the series for I think 2 years now because I felt like I did it all. I felt like I showed all the basic mission types, showed you guys how to trap, and I tend to over-trap a little bit in my videos because better safe than sorry, and farming in this game is super easy, barely an inconvenience. You can kill glowing animals, recycle what they give you, and you should be set up to get all the resources you need to get everything you need to farm in this game. So I'm not really too worried about wasting traps, but today, here's the situation we're in. We've got a fairly wide open defense that is exploding Deathbomb. That's kind of the thing that motivated me to record this today. We do have a teammate, Zaku. I don't know where, M Falcon. Yeah. So he is running a build that is demo penning the lead, but in support, it's got base Kyle, power base, base MD, and his team perk is supercharged traps, which means my traps will be doing 42.5% more damage as all 5 of his supports are constructors. But because it's exploding Deathbomb, we can't be putting any floors on the ground because they're just going to get destroyed. Even walls that will funnel the enemies are going to get destroyed, and stuff like wall darts are going to be favorable just because they'll shoot from a distance. Putting these on the fully boosted metal is going to be pretty good, and it is also a metal corrosion mission, which actually shouldn't be too big of a problem normally. Basic husks are the only ones that really afflict metal corrosion, which I do believe does not mean the fat husks. I've heard that said before. I haven't paid attention to it, so maybe we'll find out together today. But it's not going to matter for smashers and mist monsters, which are mostly what we're worried about. So yeah, I'm a little iffy on if I should do defenders in this or not. But since I think I'm seeing a couple of pads up there, I'm going to go for it. Now, I'm going to trap this video in a way that I would normally trap it. This is going to be a bit of a guide, just a little bit of a look into how these missions normally go. And something that I've been really enjoying recently is the Blastotron. And I want to test something. So this is how I would normally do it. Now, if you're a brand new player, I mean, you're watching a 164 player mission, so this isn't going to work for Stonewood necessarily. It's going to be a little overkill for that. But the Blastotron 9000 has had a nice synergy with defenders in the past because this crit has caused an explosion is nice, of course, but that 3-second cooldown did not seem to exist. Now, there was an update recently at the time of recording that suggests that maybe that interaction doesn't happen anymore and they do enjoy a 3-second cooldown. We'll see. Did he put down a... No, okay. All right. I want to make sure I have all 3 of these defenders just so you guys can see the numbers. But regardless, it should be a pretty good weapon anyway because the Blastotron's energy and it should have a nice long range because it is a sniper and it'll be doing plenty of damage anyway. So I got my 3 main defenders here. And did I overcraft that or did they just never get one? Let me triple check this. Okay. I think I overcrafted that because... Oh, maybe it's just because it's showing in my inventory even though they're holding it. So they got about 1,000 energy cells each and that should be fine. I don't want to block their angles because they are not using obliterators after all. So you could actually try something that I've never specifically done before now that I think about it. But here's the problem. We got defenders that can have their view blocked and I need to put down almost exclusively ceiling traps, which is not gonna bode well for them. So this might have been a dumb idea having defenders, but I'm still gonna do my best anyway. So there should be maybe a reason to put them a little lower, but death bombs could blow them up. Maybe they could be backup for flingers or whatever, because that could be pretty common in Ride the Lightning. Now, down here, let's do this. All right. I'm going to immediately block their view in a little bit of an important way. So we're going to have spawns coming from the northeast here, the southeast, you can see the purple, and the southwest. So there shouldn't be too much reason to trap too much in the northwest, and we're going to be using tire traps, a lot of them, because of course. So they're going to be going in kind of this angle. So you can basically just do an outline like that. And I don't typically enjoy straight up spawn trapping, but that might actually be very fitting here. So let's just do that. There we go. A little bit of battle royale gaming there. 1, 2, 3 tiles is the limit on tire traps. Now, again, I don't like spamming spawns usually because that's fairly inefficient, but considering that these guys are on a slope, that should be a highly effective way to stall these enemies back quite a bit. And there shouldn't be too many traps necessary after that. Smashers are going to get through here no problem, but you know, there's really not a lot you can do about that. I'm going to defend these just a little bit. Reinforce is really the word that I'm trying to use there. And I like the idea of pitching this as not necessarily a strict follow this to the letter trap guide, but I want to talk through my explanation for why I'm doing everything. And I'm going to save on brick because most of these builds here shouldn't really get targeted. Even if it's a flinger, they're just going to walk out here and stay out of the way. Oh, by the way, my loadout is unrelated to what I'm doing. It's just a shotgun build. If you guys have seen my shotgun loadout video, you know what's going on here. It's just a shotgun build. So I will be highly effective versus smashers, and that's worth considering when the defense begins. I will be able to help with smashers whenever they happen. And the tire traps will cling to pre-placed builds very easily. So I'm just going to do one more. In fact, I'm going to place it directionally, because when you're facing a certain direction when placing these, it'll actually stagger them behind you. So in theory, this should drop enemies here, and then that one should drop them here, and then the slope will just drop them all the way down. They should be way back here by the end of it, and that should work pretty well. If I wanted to be super overkill, I could put some wall darts out here. I'm actually not going to worry about that. So because I expect them to be coming through this location, wall darts have a 3-tile range, and I'm going to tell you guys something I learned. You know, I do not present myself as an omniscient genius who knows everything always, but okay. Let me explain what happens. Wall darts shoot 6 different darts that each have their own chance to crit or hit a target. And this has led to a misconception, popularized by myself partly, that wall darts pierce. And they do not. So yeah, they don't pierce, but they will take out bigger targets, and placing them like this is really important because that 3-tile range, exploding Deathbomb kind of sucks. This should mostly keep them out of range of, you know, the exploding Deathbomb, and this shouldn't be in the way too much that'll make smashers really annoyed. I'm building out a brick here just because I have more of it. Metal would be smartest if you really wanted to try, but that should mostly be fine for this area. It's a little under-trapped, but I'm planning on participating, and I don't want to block the defenders too much, so I'm going to do 2 more things. You should always have some builds at the, let me do it at the peak of this if it's gonna work. Okay, yeah, well, it'll be 2 tiles high then. 3 tiles will bounce the most, but you know, I could have easily just, you know, built something and then built that and then edited it out, but it's okay. It's really not a big deal. And I'm also going to do one down here. Again, I'm 50-50 on not wanting to block the defender, and I am planning to participate here. I also know that my teammates will be happy to play as well. If you're doing this in a public mission, I don't know what your teammates are going to do. I don't even know what my teammates are going to do. They know I'm recording a trapping video, but they can also hear me. They know I'm going to want their help a little bit. So I don't want to block this anti-air trap too much, and I want to build off of the southwest side here too. So let's just do this. Let's do a nice little donut, again, leaving room for the defenders right here to have a nice angle to defend. And then this side right here will be completely blocked by this, and reinforcing it will block the defender's angle. So it's not going to be ideal, but you don't want it to be able to get broken by flingers or whatever else. Again, placing these directionally is going to let me place as high as possible. It usually does. There we go. Now, if you're placing this on a brand new piece, it won't place as high as possible. But if you have one pre-placed, it should be fine. Now I'm going to edit this out just so it doesn't get in the way of the defenders, but I do want to connect that to the base just so that it has a little bit of a reinforcement. And out here actually would be a really good place to put anti-air traps. I don't know of any science that dictates how many anti-air traps is enough. I typically like to defend my defenders from throwing projectiles so that they don't get killed by those, but how many anti-air traps you need is pretty debatable. I think that should be fine, and we can just go from there. So the enemies are going to obviously walk to these cliffs and drop straight down. They might die here and break what this will end up being as a tire trap, so I don't think it's going to be the best to put that there, and I would normally place wall darts on the inside, but again, you know what? All right. I wanted to test the Blastotrons, but as I'm recording this, it's annoying me how in the way these guys are going to be. So here's what we're going to do, and this is why I have universally recommended obliterators. Why do I not have a purple obliterator? Are you serious right now? Okay, for 8% less damage, I could make fire obliterators. That's brutal. Should I just do 3 physical obliterators? I'm gonna do it just for the meme. All right, this is not recommended. You should match the element. We're in a fire zone. Water obliterators would be ideal, but I was clearly doing something. Maybe using these in Horde or whatever. This is not recommended, but I am going to place 3 obliterator defenders with the wrong element, but I do think the wrong element obliterator will be better than placing a completely blocked Blastotron one. So now that that's out of the way, this one actually doesn't matter, but I can place at least one more tire trap here, and I can't place it here, but I can at least defend it there. They should have the range of their hearing, which is about 3 tiles. So again, wall darts don't pierce, but they still do have a pretty good area of effect. So we're just gonna come over here, and then this wall dart and that wall dart should just be bullying any enemies that walk through here, and that should actually do fairly well. And then we're gonna do that on the inside just so that anything that walks down has a chance to get hit by that. And then wall darts out here are still good. And again, I'd love to put floor traps, but that's what inspired this video. Now, I am going through this mostly trying to suggest what would be good for you guys. Normally, if we know what we're doing and we're just planning on fighting it ourselves, we could be a little quicker in the trapping process, but I really wanted to take you guys on this journey with me, so I'm going a lot slower than I normally would. I know a lot of people don't like trapping missions just because it takes a while. It shouldn't take a while, but I think this is honestly a decent starting point. I am going to shamelessly add on to this trap defense as needed, but what we've got here should handle... I'm expecting 90% of the normal zombies, and partly, okay, I'm half trolling and half using my brain when I'm using physical defenders, because I'm partly concerned about smashers and mist monsters. And versus takers and flingers and perhaps physical smashers, these defenders should be just fine, and teammates participating is totally fine. As long as you can kill them before they get too close, that's perfectly okay. You can see the wall darts are already in action. You can see the enemies are getting taken care of, no problem. Even those back guys, you can see those exploding death bombs are just not doing anything. And then here's a smasher. This is where I planned on having to participate a little bit because, you know, smashers are a big deal. And the amount of traps you would need to stop a smasher, we're talking tar pits, floor freezes, stuff like that, is so significant and so impossible to really consider when you got exploding death bomb that it's not even worth it. When it comes to an exploding death bomb mission, you are either putting down hundreds of tire traps and sealing electric fields, which I note now I have barely used any. That's not intentional. I just really like tire traps in this moment. You could swap most of these for sealing electric fields and do just fine, but because I'm using a high-powered loadout anyway, I think it's perfectly good just to use that. Phoenix Flame, I've told him this before. He's played in enough of our lobbies. You gotta get some better healing in that melee build, man. All right, now I am noting, like I said, I wanted to adjust on the fly. Let me eat a wafer and make you stop existing. I have noted that enemies aren't really dying over here as much as I feared, which could be in our favor because that gives us some room to drop down that one, and we'll do one more here. So that should affect these guys a lot more. The directionality of the tire traps should be pushing them back quite a lot. And you can see they are getting killed by a teammate put down another defender that has the obliterator, or the weapon. I want to see this. So is it ignoring that 3-second cooldown? Doing live testing here. Let me see if it actually does anything. Okay, so it has the projectiles and then it stops shooting. Okay. And okay, it looks like it's totally ignoring that cooldown. That's way less than 3 seconds. I dig it. All right. And look at my physical obliterator defenders actually putting in some work. Look at that. You know, you guys thought I was just trolling. No, there was a little bit of logic to that. A little bit. I still think, you know, you would do less damage with a water one versus a physical smasher, but it would be more consistently helping against these targets that don't need the help. So you guys can see exactly what I was talking about with these tire traps. These enemies are getting pushed back so far. A lot of these baby ones are just never going to make it up the slope. And that's exactly the point. Because like I said, I've said this several times, and I really want to reiterate, I don't typically like spawn trapping because it's not even the most effective way to trap. And if you're going to effectively spawn trap, you will be wasting so many traps in the process. But because of the slope and this unique landscape, I decided 7 strategically placed tire traps would work really, really well. And you can see that that's exactly what's happening. In a healing death burst situation, this would be a lot less effective, but you can see I don't even need to shoot my weapon. There's really no need for me to interact here at all. It's working quite well. As a gamer, I'm going to interact because, of course, I mean, I want to shoot the things, but there's really no need for me to do anything. And if you get a little reckless, you might end up breaking one of these walls and damaging your builds anyway. Now, I'm not suggesting everybody fall asleep at their chair and just watch the traps do everything, but like, you know, if you're going to put the traps down, use them. The amount of tunnels I've built in this game, just for me and my teammates, I'm not blameless. Just for me and my teammates to get antsy, run out ahead, and then kill all the things anyway, it's hilarious. It's hilarious how much that's happened. Now, one thing I did not do before starting this was double check where the spawns are shifting, but you can see based on the uses here, some of these have never even fired. I placed those pretty unnecessarily, and while these enemies are going to have quite a ways to journey before they ever get hit by anything, I can probably, let me just get a little bit of scaffolding in. Let me just pop up here like that, like that. I always use easy scaffolding just for that. And then let me make sure that we have tire traps I wanted to go this way where I was just standing. Although they're getting killed by my teammates pretty effectively, so I'm just going to leave these be. Now, again, I don't know what's better or worse. I don't know if a trap guide where my teammates are participating is good or bad from a tutorial base. I do believe that teammates participating should be a fairly regular experience. If that's not the case, you should join our Discord, link below. Find some people that will help you in your missions. But, you know, the 164 player, I would cry if the average public lobby had everybody standing around doing nothing. Oh, we got a water one. Are they going to let me have this? So this is going to be a Toy Rockin' Out Warcry boosted correct element correct element ground pounder. Yeah, mini bosses don't really stand a chance when it comes to this thing. Ground pounders are freaking strong. I'm not a family-friendly YouTuber, but it's a very strong combination. This weapon with a Warcry Toy Rockin' Out, like you just saw, and if you're using Chaos Agent to reload, it sustains about 3 million damage per second, and it's nutty. So you can see why I wasn't very worried about smashers in this game, and you can see that these spawn points on the east side haven't really been addressed by me because the tire traps that I put down earlier defending from the southeast side are actually working just fine. And you can see by the usage on some of these traps, barely touched. 69, nice, out of 71 means that's only fired 2 times. Some of these drop traps have done nothing at all. So if anybody, myself, I was actually worried I might have been under trapping this mission. If anybody thought I was under trapping, I might have arguably over-trapped in this mission. And I don't know specifically how many tire traps I used. Maybe 7 over there, 10, I don't know, 20 total traps in this entire defense. Maybe with the wall darts, maybe 25 total traps. Not too bad for a 164 player. Granted, I have active teammates and we got a couple of defenders down, but defenders are... well, I won't call them cheap. But as I mentioned earlier, it should be pretty easy to farm. If you're killing glowing animals and you're recycling the weapons that they give you and you're farming even semi-often, you're doing quartz encampments and stuff, you should be able to afford at least 1 sunbeam weapon per mission. And defenders don't need to be used every single game. If you're on a budget, perhaps save your defenders for exploding Deathbomb missions exclusively, and otherwise save them. You know, you don't really need a defender in every game, as I just said. So yeah, and you can see Taker getting taken care of, no problem. So these anti-air traps are best used for lobbers, the throwing thoughts, and the flingers. Flingers will throw enemies, and takers exist. So takers and flinger enemies are well handled by sniper defenders, and that's one of the key reasons that this defense might be holding up so well, even with physical. You know, I am a gamer who makes a lot of videos on this game, and I tell a lot of people how to play the game, and I do have some expertise for sure, but honestly, I think a lot of us lose sight of the fact that while physical may not be normally optimal, it works. I mean, it's not like we're failing this mission. So yeah, I think this went pretty smooth. I hope you guys like this. This is a random video, but a lot of my trap guide videos are really just this. It's me hopping into a real life situation and showing you guys how an experienced player handles it. I'm not claiming to be the best trapper in the entire game, but I've cleared something like 8,000 or 9,000 zones, so I'm a little experienced. So yeah, you can see all of just a few tire traps here almost single-handedly handled an entire defense. Just a line over here handled all of those, and this might be a showcase more on how tire traps are overpowered more than anything, but hey, if it works, it works. All right, I'm out of here. That's the mission. Successfully defended with minimal casualties. I didn't even get top damage. Ethan's out here helping out a lot. So if you have active teammates and a little bit of thought put into where you put your traps down, you should be able to handle it just fine. If you guys want to subscribe for more, you should do so. Like the video. Check out the playlist down below if you guys want to see some more, and that's it. I'm out of here. Oh yeah, normally I'd cue an outro, but I'm not editing this, so I guess bye.